Okay. Hey there, everybody. I am a full hour late, and I've not announced this anywhere. And I wasn't sure I was going to do it today because there was a week off of God Heist, but I decided it would be worth doing another one of these. So this shows you how prepared I am. There we go. A little bit of light. I'm going to roll insight for this episode. Ready? That's a 2. That's how much insight you're going to be getting. 2 on the die. Absolutely beautiful. So this one is going to be a little bit of insight into reasons for taking a week off, what we're looking forward to coming back into the back half of the season, stuff I've been up to, projects that I'm working on, stuff like that. So this is really just more of a check-in with me. And if you're not interested in that, I don't know how much D&D stuff is really going to be in here. Obviously, spoilers for everything that's come before God Heist, because I don't know where I'm going to go. It might be a little bit rambly. So if you're not interested in that, I don't know what to tell you. This is what you're here for. You're here for some behind-the-scenes stuff on me and what's going on. So, I have these glasses now. They're very fun. I really enjoy wearing them. And that's how much I'm going to say about that. Right, so took a week off from God Heist. Thank goodness I did, because we got Antonio in the driver's seat with his mini campaign called Knights. Who knows how many of those we're going to do? But it's there now. We've started it, and so I had a lot of fun watching it. I thought the Zombie Beholder was great. The mass illusion ability that has just been given to them is insane. I watched it after the fact and got super jealous as I was watching. I was like, damn it, I should have been there. But it was good that I wasn't. But that just means that maybe when it happens next, I will be a player in that campaign. So that's I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. Huge shout out to everybody who did that. It was so good. Right. So just the behind the scenes stuff is I had too much going on. I was overworking myself and had myself stretched too thin, and I wasn't able to turn off my brain. And so my brain was just, I would go to bed and be like 11, and my brain would be like, here's an idea for God Heist, or here's an idea for the other campaigns that you run or are in. You should really write this down, or for some of the other projects that you're working on. It's like, here's an idea, and it would be 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 5 a.m, and I wouldn't be able to get any rest, and so I wasn't getting any sleep, and decided to take a week off, and it was really good. I did. Just took a week off from all of my evening commitments and things that I've been up to, and I've had a really good week, and very much missed God Heist. Very much missed doing all of these various projects and things that I've been a part of, and so really, really glad to come back. But it's coming back with a little bit less pressure and a little bit slightly fewer things on my plate. So that's really good. It's really nice. So yeah, just pure exhaustion, but I'm okay. I'm back now. I'm very excited to go into the back half of this season. All of the pieces are set up. The outside world, the bad guys in this campaign are incredibly proactive. They're incredibly forward-thinking, and have a lot of resources at their disposal. And so, what exactly they are doing is going to, is for me to decide. But they are, the heroes are not being captured. There are no guest stars. Nobody has told me that they are out for the moment. So what happens next is just the heroes deciding what to do and where to go in the world. The pieces are set up. They're fugitives. Hannah is a hero across the land. She's got all this. Power and influence. They have the last message of Thano to decode. They've got new allies, new NPC and player character allies. There is more to be unpacked with all of them. Eventually, it will be unpacked regardless, but Lucarian specifically has a lot more to unpack because that is, of course, our guest character, our contest winner character. So Lucarian is a big deal. Shh, don't tell anybody. And I know what the bad guys are going to be doing, but I don't know what the heroes are going to be doing. And much more so than in the first half of this season, the second half is going to be a lot more hands off from me. It's going to be a lot more reactive to what they decide to do. And there are enough prompts in the world that they could be like, well, maybe I'll check out this or maybe I'll check out this. And I'll go, yeah, absolutely. And I'll be keeping little notes and kind of going, you're taking this much time to do so and so. And, these people will react however they're going to react to you. And we'll let them decide, let them drive the narrative going forward. That feels right to me, not to have such a stranglehold on what's happening. Not that it was ever asphyxiating, but maybe a little bit asphyxiating. These are the things that you beat yourself up over as a DM sometimes when you're nervous about being live on camera. Who knew? You just have to try it. That's for all of you who are watching this. Go out and try doing a live stream of D&D, and it's a lot of fun. And just see what it does to your mental state. Just have a look-see, because it's definitely interesting. Something needs getting used to, I think. Right-ho. Other projects that I'm working on. So in terms of Hidden Realms channel, we've got Heist coming back on Friday, and then we'll do the rest of God Heist. If people need breaks for whatever reasons, we've got Nights, which is our in-between on Fridays. We'll see how that goes and how much of that happens and whether that becomes a full campaign or whether it's just a mini campaign, we do something else. It's exciting times. We don't quite know the full direction of everything we're doing as of yet. But that's it's exciting anyway because Nights is super fun. We've got Curse of Strahd continuing on Saturdays. I will be back for episode 3. Rook will be back, and he will have more songs than ever. That's my threat. It's my threat to Mark. Mark, you gotta kill me. You gotta kill Rook, or more songs will happen at you. But seriously, guys, if you haven't checked out Curse of Strahd episode 2. It's still on Twitch. Eventually, an edited version will make it onto YouTube, but it's still on Twitch, so go check it out. It's truly heartbreakingly tragic and creepy and dark, and everything Curse of Strahd is meant to be. It's moving. It's moving. And it hits you right in the feels. And huge shout out to Mark for the way you are running it, and to everybody who's playing it, but especially Ralph for the RP. You give yourself a hard time for that, but you're really, really good. Yeah, that's all I have to say. I look forward to being there to put a positive spin on Roderick going down to a broom. If anyone tells me, I imagine Jack Off or somebody will tell me that he went down to a broom. Oh, Rook is going to have his hands full trying to keep Roderick alive, it looks like. But with more people, better party composition, more support, we'll be fine. We'll make it. Although he does have with his new character flaw, I'm interested to see how he interacts with Rook. That'll be really interesting. Rook will just take anything that Roderick throws at him. Um, that's I'm super excited about that. I just wanted to touch on it a little bit. Um, the other things I wanted to talk about, just so that I can talk about it with somebody, is um, I have started writing my second novel again, which is really good. There's a blockage that has been moved through, and now it's starting to come a little bit easier. So that's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun writing that. I'm also going to be going back and doing another sweep over of my first novel, so that I can send it off to try to get it published again, or try to get a literary agent involved with it. Because, yeah, it's been since last October was when I really started working on it properly, and then I started sending it off in like February. So it's been a while since I sent it out last. And this time I might cast a little bit of a wider net, but I really want to get those first 3 chapters to be as good as they can be, because that's what the literary agents look at for the most part. And there's more to tell in that story. The more I do the second one, and the second one is not a direct sequel, but it does take place in the same mythos. And so the more I do the second one, the more I'm like, oh, there's more to mine in the first one. There's more time to be spent with these characters. I miss the characters from the first book, man. I really enjoy writing them. I enjoy their personalities and the storylines that I was telling with them. And so moving on to a new cast of characters is always a lot of fun, and there's a lot to discover. And I'm really excited by the prospect of that. I've got 3 heroes of this book, the second book, with a couple of other perspectives thrown in. So getting to know them, getting to know who they are is a lot of fun. But at the same time, you're like, oh man, I miss those old characters. Wish I could put them in here. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. This is, if somebody's watching this from like way, way, way in the future, and you've somehow managed to track this down, let it not be said that I gave spoilers for my wildly famous published novel series, which inevitably will come. I don't know. I don't need to be famous. It would be nice to share my passion with people, and that's why we do this stream. That's why we do God Heist and everything else. One thing I will say to anybody who's interested in the straight novel writing aspect, or screenwriting or playwriting or anything like that, is D&D is fantastic practice, because DMing specifically is fantastic practice. Not that player work isn't. Player work is really good at getting you in the headspace of your characters. And so play a lot of D&D as a player if you want to really get a feel for character personality and what works dynamically in a party and like in a group. But if you want to do some of the more overarching writing, I would very highly suggest DMing, because, and especially DMing without planning a huge amount ahead of time. Because, okay, this is going to depend on who you are. And this discussion has been had so many times, but I'll chip in with my 2 bits. Is there are people who really like to overplan. There are people who really like to plan. They like to plan a lot. And there are people who like to wing it. And this goes for novel writing. This goes for DMing. There is no right way to do anything. It is always your preference. It's your personality that informs what is right for you and for your table. And really good example of this is NADPOD. Brian Murphy has a particular style of DMing that he did for the main campaign, which is now done. Really, really good. I can't wait to see what they do next. But I'm really sad to say goodbye to those characters. And Caldwell Tanner, who runs Trinivale, which was their second campaign, especially in the early episodes, writes a lot, like writes paragraphs of description and what specifically characters say and stuff like that. So there's no right way of doing it. It all depends on your style. For me, what has been really fantastic, and maybe people will resonate with this, maybe you need to plan, is, well, I planned Volpikar to death. I planned so many characters and so many locations, but always the moments that are the best are the moments that are unexpected and throw things in a completely different direction than you had thought they would go. And the characters that you come up with on the fly, like Jeff, them going to jail, Thano dying, all of this stuff. If it was up to me, the Thano-Whatsit relationship would go right through to the end of the season and into seasons 2 and 3. But get thrown that curveball, and what a moment, and what a huge amount of character growth that requires from Whatsit now, or at least a vengeance quest. You know what I mean? Raises the stakes incredibly, and so see where the game takes you. See what the story ends up being. Take what is new, take what your players throw at you, take all the curveballs and the breaking of the game, and ride it and make the world react realistically to it, or be responsive to it, is what I mean. People take realistically in a particular light, make sense in world, is really what I meant. Internal consistency. And just exercise that creative part of your brain that has to make up characters, make up personalities, backstories, voices, motives on the spot that are going to be forever a part of the world, for your characters, for your players, and for the audience. Practice describing landscapes. Try to, you have a live audience. You get to describe this forest to people. You get to describe the interior of Ward Elkar. You get to describe all these things and get reactions from people in real time as to whether they understand you, whether they like the image, whether it evokes what you want it to evoke. It's kind of invaluable, and I hope a much better writer for having started DMing as much as I am doing now. So in terms of writing novels, I have found I don't like to overplan my books. I have a very definite idea of where a book's going to end. I never know where the book's going to begin, and it always changes, and I hate it. But I know exactly where we're going to end, and then I kind of figure out the characters and figure out how we're going to get there as I go, in a mixture of planning and off the cuffness. For some people can't do that. But I found that style feels a lot more natural and feels a lot better to write in that way, having DM'd like I've been doing. So, second book, it's got a cool name. It's an adventure. Hopefully talks about some interesting stuff and has some very cinematic set piece moments. Yeah, I don't claim to be original, but I definitely have fun. So there's that. Yeah, and other projects that I'm working on besides that, obviously running a play with my mother and my sister, which is so cool. It's going to be so good. It's so funny already. The two of them are hilarious, and I just read what they give me. Um, and make suggestions about adapting some of the source material. Not that I'm going to say what we're making, but we're making something. Um, so that goes on, and that'll continue soon. Writing a screenplay with a creative writing workshop group that I do on Thursdays. So very slowly starting to put that together, which has been very cool indeed. And watching what everybody else comes up with for the first episodes. Oh my gosh, Patrick, you're watching. This is the first episode we've got a live chat going on. Not that the first time it's been there, obviously it's always been there, but first time somebody has actually said hello. If you're watching, say hello. I will respond. Hi, Patrick. Amazing. Well, if Patrick, so let's, for everybody who's watching, Patrick Duff is a brilliant filmmaker, editor, writer, actor, performer. He is my cousin. He lives in Canada, recently got married. And I miss him like hell, and I can't wait to see him again. We have a game of D&D that we've started during COVID that we've been running, which is, I may have mentioned it on this before, which is the Mad Max with Magic game, which our group chat is called Wet Wranglers, because that's what they call themselves, the Wet Wranglers. Yeah, and it's very much, it's a desert, sci-fi, magic, dystopian kind of feeling, and they're all chaotic evil, and it's freaking hilarious, and it's great. And we haven't played an episode, or we haven't played a session rather in a while, but I can't wait to get back to it. I've got some stuff planned. Last couple, this is some stories from that campaign. At some point, I will switch up the role insights, and at some, maybe I'll switch out role insight after God Heist for a couple of weeks, and I'll talk a little bit about what Wranglers and all of the shenanigans that we got up to, or that they got up to. Brilliant stuff. Other project. So yeah, a play, a screenplay, 2 novels. The God Heist campaign being a player in Curse of Strahd, and on Tuesdays I'm running this game called Before the Fall, which is set on Avernus before it was conquered. Some of the lore of that world is that the 9 hells of Bator were once just a world called Bator, before Asmodeus decided this is where he was going to live. And we've been playing through that, and that's probably my favorite home game that I've ever DM'd. Just consummate acting and playing from those guys. It truly magnificent improvising, and the story develop, like, it's one of those things where I have plans. I'm like, oh yeah, we're probably gonna get here, and then we definitely don't get anywhere near where I thought we were gonna get for the last few sessions. But it's because things have been so interesting and so heartwarming and heartbreaking and fantastic, and there are details that are becoming really essential to these characters that just come up naturally and organically as we play. And so that one, and I actually wanted to talk a little bit about that one, and I'm sure I will talk about it more in future role insights. But I wanted to talk about that one because we're using a different style of leveling up than I have used in anything before, and it was just an experimental thing. It was a thing. It was meant to be an experiment, and it's working really well. I don't know if anybody else out there. I'm sure somebody else out there has done this because, of course, somebody has. But I'm curious to know anybody who's watching, anybody who watches this after the fact, if you could leave a comment if you have played a game where you level up after every session. You level up after every single session. So we've played, what, 5 sessions of Before the Fall. They started at level 3, and going into session 6, they're going to be level 8. With the idea being that at level 20 will be the end of that campaign. The reason that we've done it like that is obviously not going to be able to keep it going weekly forever. COVID is going to end. People are going to go back to work. We'll obviously keep going with it until the end of the campaign, and hopefully that play group will stay together forever because I love it so much. But what the result is in a story that feels very much like it has trajectory. The levels don't feel like they haven't earned them. The levels do feel earned, and because it's quite lethal, the world, and I can adjust the enemies accordingly. I can do whatever the heck I want with the enemies. It feels like, they're getting stronger and coming more into their own because the situation demands it, and still struggling and still, struggling to survive and but then also, whooping ass. And that's I just realized this microphone has been really far away from my mouth this entire time. I don't know. It's been an experiment, and it's so far been absolutely awesome. It's been really cool. I don't know if in the later levels it'll just feel overwhelming, but I'm curious to see whether anybody else has tried that. You gain a level one level every episode, and actually, interesting point was that originally the plan with God Heist was to be freeform with whether we were in role play or combat. For the most part, but the idea was to gain a level 1 every 2 episodes or so, and because of stuff that's happened, it's ended up being 1 every 3 episodes or so. So we're going into episode 10, and everybody's level 6. It's my genuine hope that they will be at level 7 by the end of episode 10, because I think level 10 would be a good place to do the final battle for Vulpikar. Yeah, it just feels like a good milestone to hit. You know what I mean? And then they go back home, these level 10 heroes who have seen all of this stuff and get reputation and probably funding and lots of magic items and their wish spells. Although, interestingly enough, only 2 people who went are going to come back and get wish spells at the moment. Although, why they wouldn't give wish spells to Rhydon and well, I don't know actually if they would give wish spells to Asai or to Ulden. Probably not. Well, this is huge spoilers for the end of the season. Actually, we'll see. It depends on how bonded those characters become and how much Rhydon and the others are willing to vouch for Asai and Ulden, who are not from Sygalia. Cool. When I started this, I wasn't sure that I was going to have a half an hour's worth of material, but it turns out it's really easy to have a half hour's worth of talking points when you love D&D, and it's been a week. So this has been Roll Insight. Thank you all so much for watching. I've decided to do shout outs at the end of my episodes now, instead of front loading them. And we're going to do shout outs in the break of God Heist tomorrow and at the end, rather than front loading at the beginning. So that's something we're going to try out and see. But of course, the shout outs are that Black Lives Matter. Um, COVID reopening is going drastically bad in the United States, and my heartfelt prayers to everybody who is out there in what is going on, because a lot of people are getting COVID, and it's really rough. So, to all of the doctors and nurses and frontline workers who are continuing to deal with the pandemic, huge thank you. Everybody out there, please try to stay as safe as you can. It's getting harder and harder to socially distance out there. I know firsthand. Justice for Regis Korchinski Paquette. And thank you so much for watching. I'm so looking forward to doing God Heist tomorrow and Curse of Strahd on Saturday. This is going to be awesome. And we'll check in next week. Cheers. Bye.